We don't hide nothing from these brothers. So let's get back to this. But the status of the descendants of the Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal on American soil is free white persons, natural men and women. The status does not apply to the Caucasian race, the Aryan race, or Indo-European race. And I just challenge you to study. When we're talking about things that's written, family, under the Naturalization Act, amended by the Act July 14, 1879, Status 103, Section 3. And you can also look in Black Law's Dictionary, the 4th edition, page 797. That's all I tell brothers to do, just to research. That's all. And to understand who you are. That's what this is about. This is not following no papers, understanding who you are. Doing it the right way. When I say Noble Drew Ali built a house, live in it. If you want to be a more, and you paying somebody to get some ID card from somebody that means nothing, that's on you. But I'll just say I would go through Chicago, and if you're doing research studying who you are, do the research on the temple, where it's at. And get your ID and stuff from Chicago. And get your birthrights and stuff from Chicago. Plain and simple. Nobody should have to tell you nothing. Yes, it costs. It cost me for me to get my ID for the file of stuff. I paid. I didn't nationalize me. I took the time and did it and sent my stuff through Chicago. And you should be able to go to any temple. You are a Moor. Circa 711 AD, the Moors that ruled Muslim Spain and Portugal for centuries were black or dark-skinned people. You can research the Golden Age of the Moors. That's edited by Ivan Van Cernema and research page 337. I'm giving you specifics. Circa 1503 and 1517 AD, an estimate 3,000 Aboriginal Americans, which are Moors, were captured from the eastern seaboard of Terra Nova, North America. Some of their names are Ali, Melchor, Miguel, Main, Juan, Pedro, Antonio, Juan Americo. A record of that account can be found in the slave books of Seville, Valencia, Catalina, Spain. They were classified as Negroes. Negro means dead and black, dirty and evil in a court of law, family. I just gave you the history when I gave you how the doctors back then, when they came up with a disease for slavery, when you wouldn't run away. I just gave it to you. They made up a disease. A disease. I told you, I gave you the Dred Scott. Said a Negro was classified as a citizen. You would never be free. Never. Never. This is not me. See African and Native American by Jack D. Forbes, page 24. I'm giving you specifics. When I say I'm not here to debate nobody. I'm a researcher. You research it. Research this stuff. We are Moors. We have a nationality. We have a spirituality. I'm fighting this physical world in a spiritual realm. I don't dismiss the spiritual. Circa 1676 AD, the Europeans that arrived in New England, North America, described the Aboriginal American Moors to be black as gypsies, Egyptians. Etymology. You got to be willing to break this stuff down and not get caught up in linguistic apartheid. That's when I say I'm a scientist. Circa 1676 AD, the Europeans that arrived in England, North America, described the Aboriginal Americans, which are the Moors, to be black as gypsies, Egyptians. Circa 1763 AD, on October 7, 1763, King George of Great Britain's treaty with the indigenous people, Indians per se, regarding the land acquisitions and demarcations, the lines in America were pretty much the areas. The 4 colonies, distinct and separate governments, are called Quebec, East Florida, West Florida, and Grenada. Washita D. Moore Empire, newspaper, December 1998, front page. Research this stuff, man. We were already here. The Washita Moors. When I break out that big map, the 1904 Louisiana Purchase map, that's what was taken. Two Europeans negotiated some land that wasn't even theirs and took it from the indigenous people. Come on, man. I mean, circa 1774 AD, the five-pointed green star in the center of a field of red is the Moorish flag, was the alleged cherry tree that General George Washington chopped down. This is the science when brothers talk about, oh, I study civics. What civics you study? Civics ain't filing no paperwork in the wrong jurisdiction like you finna get something free. Or squatting in some house or talk about you can drive without no license, you got the right to travel. That's stupid. Research your Moorish civic relations concept, volume 14, page 37. I'm giving you specifics. We are law-abiding citizens. And if anybody tell you to operate outside of the law, they are aliens, criminals. ETC. Circa 1774 AD on October 20th, 1774, British American subjects of the British Empire formed the first United States of America. Perpetual constitutions of the 13 colonies called the Articles of Association. Don't y'all know this? Brothers arguing over the United States or a black man with this. I say, man, before it was the so-called Americas, you had the United States of America, it was the 13 colonies called the Articles of Association. We have a rich history, man. Our history didn't start with no slavery. And when I saw brothers like, did you see Alan Beck? I said, this is the stuff that I teach. This is stuff that I teach on college campuses. Well, I say at certain places I don't go and teach because I'm not doing no debate with no Negro or over no religion. I don't care about your religion. I'm a Moor. I know who I am, and I have a spirituality. So we teach history. History and nationality go hand in hand. Don't you know that? All through here, our history, we talk about all these African Americans originally about James Amistad. All these brothers. Luther King. All these brothers that was in Congress. All these brothers that was in Congress. Setting the record straight. Our political history. Let me finish where we was at. Circa 1774 AD on October 20th, 1774, British American subjects of the British Empire formed the first United States of America. Well, I gave you that. Circa 1774 AD, research Noah Webster and his associates branded the Moors Blackamoor. Moor was dropped and replaced with the customary term nigger, Negro, colored, or black. How come all through history they got a different name for you? It's a reason for that. The use of the word nigger or Negro represents the spiritually dead people and not the nigger or the migration people. Yes, migration people or the Nigerian people. Blackamoor, noun for blackmore, a black man or woman, especially an African Negro. Any very dark complexion person. You can research that in the New Century Dictionary of English Language, 1927. Circa 1775 AD. The first president of the United States of America, under the Articles of Confederation was John Hanson, alleged blackamoor, a Maryland Shawnee Native American patriot who fought for the American Revolution. You can research the New Big Moors newspaper, August 7, 1991. Research certain things. That's all I tell brothers, to do some research. You don't have to believe nothing I say. Circa 1787 AD, assisted by England, Scotland, Ireland, Netherlands, France, Germany, Finland, Sweden, the United States of America ended their war with the Moors, or the Moroccan Empire, and signed the Treaty of Peace and Friendship with the Emperor Mohammed III, a Moorish Mason. The aforementioned treaty is the longest unbroken treaty in the history of the United States. You can research this how? U.S.-Moroccan Relations by Robert G. Newman, former U.S. Ambassador to Morocco from 1973 and 1976. Circa 1789 AD, on December 1st, 1789, the ninth president of the United States, George Washington, apologizes to his Masonic brother, Emperor Muhammad III, for not sending the regular advices. What is the advices? A tribute, a payment by one ruler or a nation to another as acknowledgement of submission or price of protection, excessive tax. Also, President Washington asked the emperor to recognize their newly formed government. The Moroccan Empire, which were the Moors, were the first nation to recognize the 13 colonies as a sovereign nation. Ain't no such thing as sovereign cities, sovereign nation. And see, this, me and my dad, I love having these debates. And see, my dad here, we study every day. You see, I have a library. The thing we have to understand is who we are. If it's not important for an old dog today, it's important for your babies to know who they are. They have a nationality, ain't no Negro, no color, no African American. This is history. Allegedly, the emperor agreed to their recognition because 25 Moors were members of their continental Congress. And you can research the writings of George Washington from the original manuscript source from 1745 to 1799. The editor is John C. Fitzpatrick, volume 30, page 474 and 476. That's right. I give it to the brothers. That's why he said you have the right the nationalities have a right of a nationality and a right to change it. I give it to brothers all day. I mean, that's why it's so hard for me to deal with so-called Negroes and blacks, because they argue all day. And I said, man, do some history. Research the book, The Law of Freedom and Bondage. It tells you have the right of a nationality and a right of change to change it. This is history. You have the right of a nationality and the right to change it. Research it. Research United Nations law. You can call the United Nations. They'll tell you. They'll laugh at you, but like any government, follow the proper paperwork. Come on, man. Circa 1790 AD, on Wednesday, January 20th, 1790, a petition was presented to the House of Representatives from the sundry. Who are the sundry? Numerous free Moors, subject to the prince under the Emperor of Morocco in alliance with the United States of America. The Sundry Free Moors Act states that all free Moors may be tried under the same laws as citizens of South Carolina and not under the Negro Act. I keep telling y'all, the black Christian codes, this stuff was real. This stuff was real, man. I gave you the disease that the so-called doctor said it was a disease that he came up with that caused blacks to run away. I gave you how they dispersed the Jamaican Maroons to Nova Scotia and Sierra Leone, the British, shipped them to cold areas, put them on ships, slave ships, men, women, and children. Research this. Yeah, we know about Queen Nanny and the Jamaican Maroons. I did that history. But also, you must know about that part of history when Britain shipped them Moors took them from their area and shipped them to Nova Scotia. Just like when they destroyed the Tasmanians and killed them all. Come on, man. The Sundry Free Moors Act states that all free Moors may be tried under the, okay, I gave you that, and not under the Negro Act. That's them Christian codes. South Carolina Department of Archives and History. South Carolina House of Representatives Journal, 1789. Page 90. Page 353. Page 364. Page 379. Page 374. Research into Sundry Free Moors. Circa 1857 AD. I gave you earlier the Dred Scott. I told you about Dred Scott, the case. The United States Supreme Court holds that Africans, Moors, imported, captured in an undeclared war of enslavement into this country, territory, or the United States and several states, and sold as slaves, perpetual slaves, were not included, nor intended to be included under the word citizen in the Constitution, whether emancipated or not, and remain without rights or privileges, except such as those with the government might grant them. Come on, man. This was a case, Dred Scott versus Sanford. Black Law, you can research the Black Laws Dictionary, 6th edition, page 495. The reason why Moors, so-called Africans, cannot be U.S. citizens because the Moroccan Empire has a business agreement with the British Empire. European corporate contract citizens, Caucasian men. This is just history that you can research yourself. I'm not here for nobody to agree with nothing I say. The United States is a foreign European corporation conducting trade and commerce in foreign lands. You can research this in the Remerriman's Estate, 36 New York, 479, affirmation in U.S. versus Perkins, 163 U.S. Code 625. That's why I said ain't nothing hidden. History of the Moorish people with the United States of America is recorded on the back of a Federal Reserve note. There are 2 seals on the back of the dollar, a Federal Reserve note, the U.S. currency. On the left side is the Great Seal of the Moorish Empire family. You can look that up. It's right there. And on the right is the seal of the United States. There are over 33 passwords on the dollar bill or the note. The indigenous sovereign people, the Moors, were snaked or betrayed by some of the European colonial state citizens who enslaved the Moors and branded them Negroes. Negro, black, color, Afro, Hispanic, West Indian, etc. in order to conceal their true identity. You can research a known news journal in June 1998, page 23. America is the code word for America de Morocco is in Africa. You don't have to believe nothing I say. Simple research. You got your smartphone, be smart. You're going around arguing about you a Christian. And I'm like, that's fine, but that had nothing to do with nationality. You're going around talk about you black. Yeah, black is beautiful. My fez is black. But that ain't no nationality. And you ain't black. America decoded is Africa. And Morocco decoded is America. Circa 1913 AD. Knowledge of our Moorish heritage would have been lost if it was not for the Moorish Mason, Noble Drew Ali, even Angelo Solomon. When brothers be talking about they would, man, you got to be crazy. Research Angelo Solomon. Research this stuff. These are just no goofballs putting on no fez, talk about they know something, which a lot of Negroes do. They put on the fez and act like they righteous and they argue all day. We don't do nothing in clandestine. But Noble Drew Ali, who founded the Moorish Science Temple in Newark, New Jersey, 1913. For the unconscious, the denationalized Moors, the so-called Negroes, the blacks, the colored, Moors represents our nationality, family. Science represents our ancestors. Spiritual arts maintain an esoteric science. And the temple represents our body, the dwelling place of our creator, the universe, Allah, arm, leg, arm, head. In Moorish science, Allah and man is not separate. In Christianity, God and man is separate. In Arab Islam, God and man is separate. In Moorish science, Allah and man is one. God and man is one. Yahweh and man is one, whatever you want to call it. Also, Noble Drew Ali is responsible for the Moorish flag flying once again in America. Morocco soils in 1913. The state of Morocco was not allowed to fly the Moorish flag until 1956 AD, after their independence from France. You got to remember, nationality must not be combined with Freemasonry. I said that. Listen to me. Your nationality is not Freemasonry. They call themselves sons of Muslims. The European Masons, that's why after they get to 32 and the 33 degrees, which is a level of months freezing, they just turn it to snow. Only then they put on the fez and they put Allah Islam because they studying more science. That's why they call themselves sons of Muslims. I'm telling you, man. And brothers arguing with each other. Your science is valid. That's why other people are using it, operating totally 720. Circa 1933 AD, the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, recognizes the Moors domiciling in America, which means operating, and their Moorish titles, El, Bey, Ali, Al, Day, etc. That's the House Resolution number 75, Legislative Journal, Philadelphia, May 4th, 1973, page 5759. Come on, man. Nothing to argue about. Brothers be talking about they got the cloak of dynasty. I said, are you reading this stuff? Evidently you not. Brother just collecting stuff. I said, brother, you ain't operating right. Brother just arguing. Want to know about dumb stuff. Who created the first man? Who gives a damn? If the earth's round and flat, who gives a damn? Is that going to liberate you? We arguing over dumb stuff and debating stupid stuff. That's why we don't debate dumb stuff. You're supposed to know who you are, your divine creed, your nationality, operate. Prior to circa 46 BC, the ancient Moors were referred to by the national names like Washita, Almoravides, Almodes, Moabites, Canaanites, Israelites, etc. That's in our circle 7 Quran. Israelites. And brothers arguing. That's why I said, are you hearing me? We're all one. You argue with somebody about you, and I said, if you studying, we are all one. Washita, Amorites, Almodites, Moabites, Canaanites, Israelites. That's in our circle 7 Holy Quran family. And you arguing with each other like y'all separate. Negroes. I got to call it out how it is. Negroes. The copper color American Hebrews. Listen to me. The copper color American Hebrews. Israelites kept the Passover called the green corn dance. I know y'all know about that. When I speak on this, these so-called Hebrew Israelite with the King James Version Bible, they say, what's the green corn dance? I say, man, what you mean? You say you're a Hebrew Israelite? History of the American Indians by James Adair. I just showed you the book. You have to know the history. Here go the history. Here go the history of James Adair. 1775, page 80 and 81. It talks about it. It talks about the green corn dance. Page 80 and 81. The ancient ones, or the mound, the pyramid builders of North America. Over 150 unearthed some Egyptian styles are up and down the Mississippi River. Out here in Arizona where I stay in the Grand Canyon. Don't y'all know they done found so many Egyptian Moor monuments in the Grand Canyon? Years ago, it's there. That's why it's protected. Artifacts, gold artifacts. Research this history. That's why I said the history is so hidden, they give you religion. You arguing with some Quran, with some Bible, and I say all religious books is analogy, parable, symbology. If you don't understand the landmass and the maps, you're talking religious dogma. Talk about God, some man God. Who told you man was a God? Who told you that? See? In more science, God and man is one. We give respect to the Father, the Mother, and the Son. That's the two manifestations creating life. According to the U.S. Bureau of Ethnology, was built by copper-hued skinned Asiatic Moors. You can research this in the United States Bureau of Ethnology, the 12th annual report, 1980 and 1891. Research that, family. The Aboriginal Americans, or mound builders of North America, built ceremonial mounds that date back far as 5,400 years ago. The oldest mound in North America to date is found in Watson Brake, Louisiana, 32 kilometers southwest of Monroe. You know, where you want to find this at? Research Japan newspaper or the Japan Times newspaper, September 20th, 1997. It was reported by Joe W. Sanders. See, this is history, man. That's kept away from you. And people say it don't matter now. It does matter. If it didn't matter, why you think it was hidden from you? And to come up with these codes to say, call you black and Negro and say you a Christian. And to teach you Christianity from their perspective. Why? A reason. Why would disperse? Why everywhere they went, they took you from your land and dispersed you? The Tasmania, the Moors, the Jamaican Moors from Nova Scotia to Sierra Leone. Disbursement. All over. Circa 500 BC. Where we have the stone heads of the Olmecs and if you found in Ohio. Researched a Journal of the Moorish Paradigm by Hakeem Bey. I got those books over there. I'm not gonna pull them all out this time. Circa 1848 A.D. in June the 6th, a Supreme Court decision read by Theo H. McCaleb, which was a judge, declared that the United States does not own the land of the ancient ones. Unisextitum, mound builders of North America, more than 1 million square miles of land. More than 1 million square miles of land. Also, the court declared that lawful landowners are their heirs of Henry Turner, Washita Moors. See case number 191, U.S. Supreme Court, United States versus heirs of the Henry Turner. I'm telling you, man, you don't have to listen to nothing I say. I keep telling you, the Washita Moors, they were here. When I give you the 1828 dictionary, the copper colored races found here by the Europeans, we were here. And you get with this out of Africa. Circa 1993 A.D., the present day Empress Harris, Highness, Verdice, bless her soul, Tierra Washita Bay. She is the past heir, which was the last living heir of the ancient ones, the Empire of Washita, the Muhammadiyah. They are recognized by the United States as the oldest people in the world. Research it, man. You don't have to listen to nothing I say. So are we in denial of our ancestry? It is no longer a question as to whether those who have been branded Negroes, colored, black, etc., are the descendants of Moors. That's why reading the Bull Interior Katira, certain history things, reading the North American Exploration from Columbia's Encyclopedia, family, one can figure out why this truth has been suppressed for centuries from the natural people of the earth. Upon further review, one can also clearly see that our struggle is within the principles of law and not within the face called racism, family. Yes, we have systems and byproducts of racism. Hell, we hate ourselves. Why? We call each other Negroes in color and won't even get into our divine creed and nationality. Man, when I'm around my European colleagues, they know what this is. When I'm around so-called black folk, Negro colors, they laugh. That's why I laugh at Negro and say, man, sad for you. But other nationalities, they know what this means. And they know it's something under it if you're operating right. They know. They know it. But we don't. Because you chattel. But upon further review, one can also see clearly that our struggle is within and with the law. It don't got nothing to do with racism. It's symptoms of racism and slavery. Yeah, they there. But however, it has no nickel in this dime in regards to the solution and the earthly salvation of our children. If we stand as one. Copper color races with culture. We stand on the rules of engagement laid out by our ancestors to preserve our posterity. These same rules are embodied spiritually in most written national and international documents, family, which upon pondering we find they were written as a message to us, for us, by us, to assist in our awakening, such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1959, and the Declaration of the Rights of the Child, 1948. It is almost as if the international community was reaching out again, family. Since it appeared we didn't wake up until 1948 per se. Maybe we would wake up in 1959 when this was happening, if they addressed concerns involving human law through children through offspring, but that didn't work either at that time. Besides, family, Drew Ali came in 1913 and made wonderful strides regarding nationality and birthrights, jurisdiction, and law. However, family, if we as a gathering, if we don't claim our status as natural people, you hear what I say? If we, one or two or three of us doing it, doesn't mean nothing. That's not a nation. I said us as natural people. We will remain consciously, yet unconsciously, fictitious chattel property and claimed as such through the 14th, the 15th Amendment, the Negro Acts, which is the point and purpose of creating them, family. To claim a between, a privilege, and a right. And if you don't claim yourself and your children, they are devoured. That's why I said, brothers and sisters, when you go fill out things and they don't even have your nationality on there, and brothers fill out black, you got to mark yourself and put who you are. You got to tell a person who you are, or they will tell you who you are. That's why I said it's vital for our women and our babies and our young sisters. That's why I said in this movement, I need the women. Because the men just reinforce what the women say. We need our women. I'm all about the women. I'm all about the women. I love my brothers, but I know brothers have excuses. I had a temple out here for 2 years, and Negroes they got more excuses than a Negro going to jail. I'm going to keep it 100. I'm transparent. Nobody don't have to like what I'm saying. Brothers have more excuses going to jail. A football game come on, we supposed to meet and do something, they ain't coming. Super Bowl come on, they ain't coming. Basketball game come on, they ain't coming. Excuse. That's why I build with women and children and the men that want to build. I don't got time to be wasting my time talking to no Negro with no fez on. I ain't wasting my time. Flat out. All they brothers doing is arguing. That's all I see brothers doing. We supposed to get our women and our sisters and our children, these babies, and teach them and build them up strong. You know? But it's the mothers. It's about our babies. The woman is Mayat, the God that produced food and life. So if the women don't know their mores and don't know that they are free people, then the babies are slaves too. Then we have to teach this from the womb, man. Esoterically and exoterically. Our children, sisters, brothers, but I'm speaking to our sisters. Our sisters, don't you know that our children are in the same status by default? Because the condition of the child is based upon the condition of the mother. Come on, man. This is a science. And if you don't understand science, you are lost. They don't want you to understand science. They want you to get with religion. That's why I say you're so busy reading religious books instead of understanding your brain. We're supposed to study both. You get caught up in a religious book and don't understand in your brain. Don't understand your hippocampus. Don't understand the chakras. You don't understand nothing. You don't understand the comedic principles. You don't understand about the workman tools, how to correct yourself. None of that. You think some outside yourself finna save you. But it seems our biggest culprits are ourselves. That's why I said the work that we must continue to do is for the young and yet unborn. That's why I said I'm getting to my travel to the YMCA to teach children. When I do lectures, I don't charge $5 donation. If not, I'm here to spread this. Don't y'all know when Dr. Ben researched these brothers, when they were doing lectures, man, they said they was trying to pay people to come. He said when he was black people to spit at his feet when he was doing lectures because they so caught up in their religion and they love Jesus so much. Come on, man. They weren't loved by the people. Are you crazy? But it's for the one that's not unborn, as they are the ones who will assist to preserve the mother's earth and uplift fallen humanity, which is the woman. That's fallen humanity. Without the woman, there would be no me. There would be no you. There would be no more life. It's over. It is not that the solution regarding law writs or written documents is not evade to us, family. The problem is we don't utilize the written information that we have, and we don't enforce it as a people, mainly because we don't study them. Most haven't even read them, yet they were left for us. They pertain to us, and they do preserve our rights of birth. Hopefully, information provided to us. When brothers that's operating the right manifestation, they give it. We all should be saying the same thing. And I'm just giving my piece of information, challenging you to study. And other brothers that's more, that's operating right, and not even more, this brother that's giving information. I hope you're studying right. We all have the biggest weapon, and the biggest weapon is the truth. That's why the truth makes so many religious people mad, because you can find it, you can research it, you can stand strong on your square per se with the truth, and you don't have to. You have a, who are you? I'm a Moor. What's your nationality? I'm a Moor. You don't even have to go no farther with it. A person want to get, that's what it is. Flat out. If you want to get technical with it, that's on you. If it didn't seem to matter before, it matters now. And for those of you who say, nah, you're probably the ones who claim you are spiritual, and say you have the spirit of the ancestors with you, and probably go through the rituals pointing out the truth that we must manifest our realities. And if this is you, you must recognize your own contradiction. How? You may also want to take into consideration, family, that the population we have and the population of our people across the globe, we are waiting for us, the mothers and the fathers of civilization, to wake up. So putting these titles on you, calling you this and that, that's not a nationality. We got to get the house. We got to get the earth together. You see? We got to get the house and the earth together. Things go hand in hand. As far as concerns about bloodshed, family, the blood is your blood that we shed to get ourselves right. The bloodshed, you should be shedding your blood. So we can't be arrogant, self-righteous, while all along going through this blindly, through this belief, going through some belief. We, in fact, are the law. I keep telling with these Moors and Adapt, if you and Adapt, we are law-abiding citizens. I keep telling you, if you're not under the parameters of the law, you are alien and outlaw. We either author or authorize the information that others are crookedly, dishonestly using to suppress us. You know? That is what makes it such a travesty. When I tell brother they operate as L's and Bays, I said, do you know what L and Bay mean? And what Ali and what they mean? These are noble titles. These are noble titles. This ain't nothing you just giving yourself walking around as some Negro still. We are noble men. We are under the divine creed and nationality. This is no game. We ain't drug dealers. I mean, I'm serious, man. This is no game. This is no dressing up a certain way, thinking this some hip hop. This ain't it, man. This is a nationality and divine creed. We are noble men. But you must ask yourself, how are we doing that? How are we noble men? How are we putting ourselves in the right jurisdiction? How are people lying to us by making false claims and putting it in writ or in writing? Put it in writing, which is what, family, when you study? It's a spell. When I want to put a spell in, I put it in writing. How I can just lie to you? False doctrine. I can talk to you with a silver tongue, eloquently. I don't give a damn if you talk nice and soft. You can still be lying. Get out of my face with that linguistic apartheid. And that's what I say when I say the education journey was something I had to do. When I study and I say all education is westernized. It's pseudo-academia. And no one can catch me with linguistic apartheid. I don't care how soft you speak. And that's what certain Europeans do. So when you speaking, you can't put a spell on me. So which is a spell as in speaking. Listen to the context that I'm using it in. A spell as in speaking. They are making false claims that we don't rebuke. Maybe it is because we think we can't spell. When I tell brothers, do you know how to read? I love when me and my dad, we have our studies and we say, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Are you doing it? Are you tracing that word etymologically? Because if you ain't, they done got you in linguistic apartheid. You need to know how that word was used then, now, and definitely how they using it. And kick them in the butt with that crap. You have to know language. The irony to that is, if we continue to let our children be erroneously educated. When I tell brothers and sisters, I have the same education that we send in our kids to go be falsely taught. I have the same education. I have a bachelor's in business, a master's in theology, studying a PhD, a doctorate in law, indigenous people law and policy. Man, it's funny that my dad had a European, a Jewish professor that told him, it's funny that you black people, and this was years ago, let others educate you and you complain. And my professor said the same thing to me on a campus at GCU when I was getting my master's, when I was doing my dissertation. All of my professors, because I do lectures with the professors, put me in the office like, man, isn't it sad that your people go let others teach you and you have the same education and you teaching them who they write from the right books? And I said, yes, it's sad. That's the part that's laughable. That's the part that's laughable to me. But that's the irony, man. The fact that we have been miseducated. Miseducated. That's what Carter G. Woodson was telling. We have been miseducated. And then in our spirituality, only thing that so-called black people own in the community was the church. You was left with the dumb Negro church. With the dumb Negro preacher. And they're preaching you European religion. Telling you your skin a curse. And when I tell you, the brothers of the East wore the turbans, the religious brothers in the East, when I showed you in the book, the chosen people, the religious brothers of the East wore the turbans. I don't even know where that book at. Where that book at? Let's see if I can just show you real fast. I don't know, but it's in there somewhere. But anyway, the religious brothers of the East wore turbans in the churches. And that's why I said we've been miseducated and left with goofball people across the spectrum. Across the spectrum, family. So that's what I'm saying. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. When I be telling brothers, y'all filing this paperwork, and I say, look, you doing it wrong. You go to court. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Erroneously educated. Purposely dumbed down. Purposely dumbed down. Why don't you want to educate and learn to ask people stuff when they telling you stupid stuff? The law says this. And they don't even study law. They YouTube stuff. They're not even studying law. That's the thing you show me some Moors that study law that say this is the brother expertise in the temple. He study law. He can help you in the right perspective. This brother expertise. He's this. Just because you a grand sheik in the temple don't mean you all know it. You brothers speaking on topics they have no business speaking upon. You speaking upon law because you read a phrase in the Black Law Dictionary. Do you study law? No. No. It's like somebody trying to sell you a house or more, and you say, are you a real estate agent? Do you know anything about real estate? No. Do you know about living trust? No, because you don't know law. You don't know real estate. You don't know about clauses. You don't know about gray areas. When I talk about living trust, ain't no such thing as no more. It's a living trust. It's things that get your stuff out of public and put it in private. This is knowing law. This is knowing real estate law. This is knowing land law. I'm just telling you, my expertise is indigenous people law and policy. That's with land, policy, everything. Understanding your rights as a people. But ignorance of law is no excuse. That's a statement which is real. And it's sad scenario and a lack of willingness to take responsibility when we realize we are taught the world math, how to spell, how to read, and we're taught law. We're taught the several liberal arts. Yet we don't know that law is eloquently reserved for us, expressed, implied, verbal, and written, as in the book of law. Come on, man. That's why I deal with brothers and sisters that say they don't know. When you don't know, I can deal with you. But when you act like you don't know and you sit there and lie to me, I can't deal with you. And I'll never deal with you again in my life. We're supposed to admit we don't know. That's what we're here for. I don't know everything, but I have an expertise and I give my life to what I do. But many of us use ignorance of the law as an excuse and add insult to injury when we say law is the so-called white man's law. I hear more saying this stupid stuff. Oh, we don't operate business. That's some white man's law. Or that 501. You know, man, bull crap. Operate a business without understanding law and see what happens. You will be shut down. Talk about some law, some white man's law. It's not. I have a business degree. So if you're in a temple and they teaching civics, what they teaching? I teach business. I have a tax exempt number. The people that's down with me, we use our tax exempt number. What is he exercised upon us? Is color of law. A semblance of the which is real. So what I'm saying, family, it doesn't matter what he is doing when we're talking about not knowing the law or taking a verbal and a written oath to the principles of law of our ancestors left to preserve our rights and the perpetual rights of our progeny of who we are as a people. Universal principles, family. Jurisdiction. That's what certain people are doing. They're taking your jurisdiction. They're taking your law. Without him taking the oath, he has no authority of law, although he pretends to. Suddenly, or rather, hopefully, if not already known, the issue of jurisdiction becomes a very real issue, family. Jurisdiction. We got to understand what that means. When I say when you sign things and when you give consent, and there's certain things that when I say you must know law, when a person say, what you mean consent? Research it. Consent is when you're giving a person to do you a certain way. When I tell people, let me show you something real fast. When I show my brothers, they be like, what's that? When I stamp everything, that's what I sign when everything. All rights reserved, Kari Hakeem Goodman Bay. That's my stamp. I reserve my right on everything. You got to research contracts when more be sort of, oh, I'm this. Okay, but are you reading the contract you signing? No. You just arguing. Read the contract that you sign. I don't care if it's the lease for a house. I don't care if it's a car. I don't care if it's a cell phone. I don't care if it's a job. Read on it. It say they reserve the right. The right to do what? To do whatever the hell they want to. So, but you ain't reserve your right. What is your right? To do whatever the hell you want to. And I'm just being blunt. To say I'm done. To say I walk away. I reserve my right not to pay you no more. Why? Because I paid you for the time that I've been doing this. I reserve my right. I'm done. But when you sign a contract without reserving your right, you gave up your right to even fight for who you are. But you don't know this. But let's finish. We ought to be ashamed to allow anyone to make a mockery over that which our ancestors preserved for us, family. That's why I say we must unite and come as one. Brother, you say brother say they Hebrew Israelites? Okay, but do you a more? I just gave it to you. And then the Hebrew Israelites say we are the chosen one. You're not the only chosen one. We must unite, and we will. But it appears not until we have had a great deal more pain. That's all I can see. But I challenge my brothers to study well. That's an overstatement at this point. And by studying a little, we can find answers. Family, the information is there. However, it's clothed, or how can I say, it's packaged. Meaning you must seek, and you shall find. And you must have keys. Do you hear me? You must have keys, key words, key phrases, knowledge. My people suffer from a lack of knowledge, as stated in your Hebrew scriptures by Yeshua, which was Jesus. Bits of information acts as keys upon which you can study, which we can study. We research and unveil truth. even in an attempt to disprove it, one finds they affirm to be so, family. We all know that truth is the light that shines and sets us free. But at the very least, family, a knowledgeable and a conscious people certainly cannot be enslaved by lies. And I don't care where the lies come from. So we speak to those who really want to be free, and at the very least want their children to be free. If that is not the desire and the intent, what we're doing, family, then we need not to talk about or complain or say they are in a struggle to fix the abuse or the misuses. We need to shut up. We are the mothers and fathers of civilization across the planet. We are world history. You know, and I proved this with lectures in history on college campuses, with no doubt, with the history books. What's been proven is that we have been written out of history. Yes, it's been proven that we've been written out of history. But the books prove it. I have all over, from the ancient and modern Britons by David Mackey, from the Viking world, from the Colosseum, all the books that was put in the museums, it proved differently that you're not a slave. We have a rich history. But it's proven that we were written out of history and whitewashed out of the history books. Yet only, family, because the ones who have taught us and who we allow to continue to teach us, to teach our children, these preachers, even so-called more, these false doctrines that's teaching us bull crap, we're allowing that to happen. We're allowing that, the stroke of their pen. If the pen doesn't match the carbon, which is the carbon dating, you must change the pen. You must be willing to destroy everything that you thought was real to write us out of that which they put before us to learn from. Family, this happened after Europeans burned the books, reconstructed the history, reconstructed. Family, if you look at my dispensation books, early Islam, Byzantine, ancient kingdoms, history of India, the Renaissance, it's certain things, the reconstruction, it's things done on period for a reason. They burned certain books, reconstructed them. When we talk about Celtic magic, and you look at the book and you see Europeans dressed up in Moorish gear, because they rewrote it. The history, and will punish us if we were caught reading the books. That's why when you look at movies, so-called slave movies, Nat Turner, when they say you read this book, the rest of these books ain't for you, they took them straight to the Bible, because the history books will tell you the truth. The books, what's that? Hold on. The history of the reign of Ferdinand and Isabella. I mean, this is the stuff I tell brothers, it tell you the truth. But they take the books and reconstruct them. And they tell you not to read them. They told Nat Turner, read this Bible. The rest of these books, this ain't for you. Because I want you to teach this to your people that you a slave. And God said that you a slave. God said that you a slave. That's what they wanted you to teach. They didn't want you to read history books. God said that you a slave. The pen is mightier than the sword. That's another profound statement. Veiled behind it, family, is the sword. What is the sword? Which in translated into the written word. The written word. And the spelling is cast. Come on, man. I'm going to give a little expert from Are You in Denial of Your Ancestry? Let's look at information that came from an encyclopedia regarding world history, regarding Moors. This information is in reference to Charlemagne, known as Charles the Hammer, and Alfonso the First through the 6th. There were actually 12 generations of Alfonsos. And so, we can research 5 or 6 generations of them fighting Moors to gain power and rule over the land and the people. So what we want to make emphasis on is the dates are as far back as 600s and 700s. In fact, by doing the math, family, wherein the Moors civilized Spain in 832 and reigned for over 700 years in bringing you to 1500s or so, and to the Christopher Columbus voyage nearing the 1500s. Charles Martel. You can log back on if you want to, because I'm about to finish. I'm about to wrap this up. We almost done. If you want to log back on to get the rest, you can. It's about to end. We can log back on. Yep. We got about 3 more minutes and it's over. But I want to give you the rest, because this is vital. Very important. Very important. Yes. So like I was saying, an excerpt from Are You in Denial of Your Ancestry? Listen what he says. I told you that the dates went far as back to the 700s, bringing us up to 1500s, to the Christopher Columbus voyage, nearing the 1500s. Right? Right. So Charles the Hammer, 688 or 641, in that time period per se. We got in that time frame. I can't be precise, but I'm giving you a time frame of the period. He was a Frankish ruler, natural son of Pepin of Heristal, and grandfather of Charlemagne. After the death of his father, in 714, he became mayor of the palace in Neustria, having previously crushed all oppositions. He extended his rule to Burgundy, Aquitaine, and Provence, having subjugated many of the German tribes across the Rhine. He encouraged the activities of Saint Boniface and other missionaries among them. Charles Martel halted the Muslim invasion of Europe by his victory over the Moors of Spain in the Battle of Tours of Poitiers, 1732, one of the decisive battles of the world's history. Although he never assumed the title of king, he divided the Frankish land like a king between his sons Pepin the Short and Charlemagne. And I have to make note on this when we talk about history. When I tell you, man, history and nationality go hand in hand. If this is one of the most important battles in the world history, why haven't you learned about this in school? Why haven't we learned about this in school? If this is one of the most important battles in history, this is telling you about you. Why haven't they taught you this in school? Any person particularly, especially scholars, when we say we're scholars, we clearly know this about the battle with the Moors. They didn't mention it, nor do they come back from their studies and call us Moors, as we're rightfully and historically are by heritage. Moors, nomadic people of the northern shores of Africa, a Kebaline, a Maximum. And no, family, we have to get things right. The original inhabitants of Mauritania, they mixed with successive conquerors and are now a darker skinned race, chiefly our Berbers and Arab blood. In the 8th century, they were converted to Islam and became Muslims. Another note, this indicates that Arabs and Berbers are Moors, and Moors are associated with the creed of the Islam and Muslims. Islam is a way of life, not a religion. I, self, law, and master. Come on, man. I know. I'm telling you, man. We talking specific here. We eliminate confusion. This ain't no Al-Islam. 711, under Tariq, they crossed into Spain in 711 and without difficulty overran the crumbling Visigoth kingdom of Roderick. We must make another note. This indicates these same dark-skinned, melanated people are in fact the Moors of Spain. The Visigoths are Christian crusaders. 1732, they spread beyond the Pyrenees, Pyrenees, into France, where they were turned back at Tours by Charles Martel, 732. Another note to make, Once again, the Battle of Tours is mentioned, that most decisive world battle fought between the Moors and the Christian Crusaders. This is history. 1756. In 1756, Abdur Rahman I established the Umayyad dynasty at Cordoba. The emirate became under Abdur ar-Rahman III, the Caliphate of Cordoba. The court there grew in wealth, splendor, and culture. The regent al-Mansur in the late 10th century waged bitter warfare with the Christians of North Spain, where from the beginning of the Mohammedan conquest had met with its only opposition. The cities of the south, Toledo, Cordoba, and Seville, speedily became centers of the new culture and were famed for their universities and architectural treasures. You can research the Muslim art and architecture. Research this stuff. You don't have to listen to nobody trying to get you under their religion, Moor or not. Another note to indicate, the Moors taught high civilization principles and established the well-known best universities, i.e. Cordoba and the Christendom, then a political term, later turned to their religious order, were and still are the only opposition of Moors. With the exception of brief periods, there was, however, no strong central government. The power was split up among descending local leaders and factions. Another note to make, family. This indicates that the Moors fought with each other for ruling power. Did you hear me? It indicates that the Moors fought with each other for ruling power, the same way it happened today. One of my partners killed his own brother. My brother was killed by a Negro. Flat out. Moors arguing today. That's why I said when organized religion, when brothers operate on their lower self, you're going to have hell. Almoravides are Moors. Almoravides are Moors, family. 1174. Oh, my brother said, how you spell it? Almoravid. One of my brothers was like, man, you hurting feelings. No, I don't mean to hurt feelings. I'm here to reveal the truth. And he like, man, I've been in the temple. They don't even teach this. He like, one of the brothers telling that we some Muslims. That ain't what our divine, man. I teach our divine creed. I teach what Moorish Islam is. In Moorish Islam, Allah and man is one. 1174. The Almoravid control slowly declined, and by 1174 was supplanted by the Almohades, Alhomades. These successive waves of invasions have brought into Spain thousands of skilled artisans and industrious farmers who contribute largely to the mixing or the prosperity of the country, building a nation. They were killed or expelled in large numbers. The great loss of Spain in the Christian reconquest, which began with the recovery of Toledo, that was in 1085, by Alfonso, king of Leon and Castile. Another note, the fall of the Moors, the Almoravides and the Almohades, are both Moors who fought each other for political control. Are you listening? The Almoravids, Berber Muslims dynasty that ruled Morocco and Muslim Spain in the 11th and 12th century. Its real founder was Abdul ibn Yassim, who by force of arms converted some Saharan tribes to his own reformed religion and then advanced on Morocco. After his death in 1059, Yusuf ibn Tashufin and his brother Abu Bakr came to power. Mekarnish was founded in 1062 and was the center of a powerful empire. Yusuf was called by the Moors in Spain to help stem Christian reconquest. Yusuf entered Andalusia and defeated Alfonso in 1086 of Castile. Later, he subdued the local Muslim rulers and governed Muslim Spain with North Morocco. Abu Bakr had South Morocco. The Almoravides the Almoravides were rough and almost savagely of the luxurious Muslim culture in Spain. Their rule was never entirely stable, and in the 12th century was attacked by the Almoravides, who finally by 1174 won both Morocco and Muslim Spain. I mean, we can go on and on, man. The Almoravides, the Berber Muslim dynasty that ruled Morocco and Spain in the 12th and 13th century. It had its origins in the founded Muhammad ibn Tumar, who in circa 1120 stirred up the tribes of the Atlas to purify Islam and oust the Almoravides. So much, man. But as you can see, oh, let me give you this. I gave you in 1487. Actually, I'm going to skip around because I'm about to eat. I'll give you a couple more dates because like I say, I'm a historian. I'll go with dates. Cross-reference the dates. 1212, the great Christian victory of Navas de Tosa prepared the way for the downfall of the Muslims. Another note, continued fall of the Muslims, noted here as Muslim fighting Christians. Again, 1236, Cordoba fell to Ferdinand II of Castile in 1236. The wars went on, and one by one the Moor strongholds fell, until only Granada remained in the hands. 1236, Cordoba fell to Ferdinand II of Castile in 1236. The wars went on, and one by one the Moor strongholds fell, until only Granada remained in their hands. So let's note, the Granada was the last Moor stronghold. And after it fell, the Treaty of Granada gave Columbus the authority to travel west to this North America continent and conquer the paradise, the Algonquinian civilizations here in Americas, North and South and Central. This is when Moors by name were called blacks. Hence the names black, Negro, colored have been made part of history. And the connection, the name Moor was ended. And the descendants took on the slave brands, just as they did in Spain prior to coming here, when they conquered and called themselves Moriscos or Moriscos, and then called themselves Spaniards. 1487, I'm almost done. 1487, Milaga, Milaga, was taken after a long siege by the forces of Ferdinand and Isabella. And in 1492, Granada was recovered. Many of the Moors had accepted Christianity. These called Mudejares, Mudejares, were now joined by the new converts, the Moriscos. They were allowed to stay in Spain, but were kept under close surveillance. I'm telling you, man, research. So another note, Moors were forced to convert to Christianity. Moors were forced to convert to Christianity. Edicts were put out by Queen Isabella, of which one was that they were not to wear Moorish garbs. You see? So they tell you to take your fez off, take your garments off, take your bonnet off, take your turban off. That's why I laugh at brothers when so-called black Negroes, they laugh, but Europeans, they know what this, they know it's royalty. Queen Isabella, of which one was that they were not to wear their Moorish garb. Your turban, your fez. Moors were and still are known in Spain as the Moriscos, those who converted to Christianity out of force. The mighty melanated dark-skinned people who fell the great fall of humanity. 1568, they were persecuted by Philip II, revolted in 1568, and in the Inquisition were virtually exterminated. In 1609, the remaining Moriscos were expelled just like everywhere the Europeans do. Just like what they did to the Moors in Jamaica. Send them to Nova Scotia. Send them to Sierra Leone. Just like when they did the Tasmanian. Killed them all. Thus the glory of the Moorish civilization in Spain trailed out. Its contribution to Western Europe and especially to Spain were well nigh incalculable, or couldn't even find it. But it's all in the arts, the architecture, the medicine, the science, it's learning. It's all us. Nationality and divine creed is important. This comes from you. Another note, family. You can see the Moriscos were the Moors. I stated earlier, the persecution and the extermination of the Moors in the Eastern Hemisphere, which was the Holocaust. Many status quo scholars have written this as a complete extermination, when in fact, it was not. This is the intentional for the scholars to write this to make the descendants think they are in fact not descendants, to make them think there are no more Moors, and that this exactly has occurred. The descendants are still today lost for their identity. This Holocaust they are speaking of happened in the eastern part of the globe. However, family, Moors were in all corners of the earth, and the descendants have not been virtually exterminated. When I show you, family, the descendants, let me show you something, family. We have to get things right. We have to get things right. The Negro question, the Africans, which were Moors, the slave ships that came from Judah. When I tell you, during those times, Judah had 4 names. I'm telling you, Wadua, Whidah, Quadua, or Abir, and Judah. The map makers tell you all in the universities. It tell you the cartographer. One European was a cartographer for 2 European kings, for King George II and King Louis, and he didn't disagree about the map. The slave port was Judah. Didn't disagree. History. The slave port from Judah. We just got to get things right, man. This is why studying is so important. This is why I tell us more studying is so important. Studying is so important. The Moors that they label Indians, when they came here, did not just vanish off the earth. Some survive today, intact with full melanated in their skin. Some were murdered over the years. Others were amalgamated into fair skin, mixed down. Return as they are, aboriginal and indigenous to this land. They are you, they are me, family. When we talk about the King Alfred plan, these are things that they written. This is not me, this is their pen. When I say it's nothing to argue about. The King Alfred plan, silent weapons for a quiet war, in reference to the extermination of the Holocaust. It is important to know that this is not without possibility today. But it's going to talk about the King Alfred plan, Rex 84. It has been in effect for a long time. It was documented in 1947 and is coined the silent weapons for a quiet war. The Homeland Security Act is an extension for that plan. Research this stuff. You don't have to believe nothing I say. And we've almost done. The following are excerpts from the plan. Here go a memo. National Security Council. The minority has adopted an almost military posture to gain its objective, which are not clear to most Americans. It is expected, therefore, that when those objects are denied the minority, racial war must be inevitable. When the emergency comes, we must expect the total involvement of all 22 million members of the minority, men, women, and children. For once this project is launched, its goal is to terminate once and for all the minority threat to the whole of the American society and indeed the free world. Chairman National Security Council. Preliminary memo. Department of Interior. Under King Alfred, the nation has been divided into 10 regions. You got to see the accompanying map. In case of emergency, minority members will be evacuated from the cities by federalized National Guard units, local and state police, and if necessary by units of the regular armed forces, using public and military transportation, and detained in nearby military installations until a further course of action has been decided. I'm going to give you more. Another memo, Department of Defense. There will be many cities where the minority will be able to put into the street a superior number of people with a desperate and dangerous will. He will be a formidable enemy, for he is bound to the continent by heritage and knows that political asylum will not be available to him in the countries. The greatest concentration of the minority is the Deep South, the Eastern Seaboard, the Great Lake region, and West Coast. For those who have always thought there was a conspiracy against minorities, hey, there you go. This ain't my pen. So the operative question is, are you a minority? When I keep saying abracadabra, are you a minority? That's the question. That's the question. Are you a minority? People who are not a minority do not think with minority minds. And upon discovering that minority is a legal terminology for those who cannot think for themselves or handle their own affairs, they wouldn't allow their rights and their children's rights to be abridged. Are you following me, family? Nobody should like ignorance. Not even you. So I'm closing, family. I urge you that you do not confuse religious dogma, religious creed, and beliefs, or solid systems, cultural philosophies like Black is Beautiful and African American history, or blind faith with nationality, which is bloodline, pedigree. This is a consanguineous issues. The names Negro, color, Black, Indian, Latino, white. It indicate people who are ignorant of their true historical, of their true lawful, of their contributions to society, and it indicates persons who are properly or who are property of the European slaveholders. You see, this is what I tell people. Us Moors, we should be saying the same thing. Research this. Brother getting caught up, oh, these Moors, this, they have. So, I love the Cannon Land Moor brothers. I love all them brothers that's telling the truth. Brothers mad because brothers telling the truth. Are you a minority? Are you operating with a minority mind state? Are you operating as a European slaveholder per se? Are you operating as a Negro, colored, Black, Indian, Latino? Are you operating white? Because to me, that indicates a people who are ignorant of their true historical lawful contribution to society. And it indicates a person or persons who are property of the European slaveholders. A compromised people, a subordinate to European psychology, westernized pseudo-perspective, bureaucratic slavery. I'm sorry, it's just what it is. And so my brothers and sisters, I challenge you to study and research who you are. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. I'm sorry I couldn't give you that history about the Jamaican Maroons and how they enslaved. Let me see, can I pull the one up of in Sierra Leone before we go? I feel I can pull that one up. But it's the history is there, man. Queen Natty, Jamaican Maroons, they had a player in Moortown. Listen to this history before we go. The Jamaican Maroons in Sierra Leone were a group of about 600 Jamaican Maroons from Trelawney Town, one of the 5 Maroon towns in Jamaica, who were deported by the British forces following the Second Maroon War in 1796, first to Nova Scotia. So first they took these people from Jamaica in the Second War to Sierra Leone from Nova Scotia. They just dispersing you. That's why I tell brothers, you from all over, you don't even know where you from. Several years later, in 1800, they were transported to Sierra Leone. The Sierra Leone Company had established the settlement of Freetown and the colony of Sierra Leone in 1792 for the resettlement of the African Americans, Moors, who arrived via Nova Scotia after they had been evacuated as freedmen. Free people from the United States after the American Revolutionary War. Here it is, Europeans, the Britons, take you from your land. And you saying you a Christian. Some Jamaican Maroons eventually returned to Jamaica, but mostly became part of the larger Creole or Creole people and culture made up of freedmen and liberated slaves who joined them in the first century of the colony. From a long period, they dominated government and the economy of what developed in Sierra Leone. Following the rebellion and surrender of the colonial government in the Second Maroon War in 1769, about 600 Jamaican Maroons from Treetown within Nova Scotia. Tired of the coast of maintaining order, the Jamaican government had decided to rid themselves of the problem. Damn, so they called the people the problem. Immediate actions were to put in place for the removal of one group of Maroons. The Nationality to the Lower Canadian, Quebec, Upper Canada, Ontario, had also been suggested as suitable places. The British decided to send this group to the Halifax, Nova Scotia, until any further instructions were received from England. 2 gentlemen, Messrs. Quarrel and Quarter Lonely, were sent from Jamaica with the Maroons as commissioners. On October 26, June 1796, the ships, here goes some more slave ships, the ships Dover, Mary, and Annie sailed from Port Royal Harbor, Jamaica. Jamaica is Americas. To Halifax, taking you right from the Americas, taking you all over. Once arrived in Halifax on July the 21st, the other 2 followed. 2 days later, carrying a total of 568 men, women, and children. The Duke of Kent, Commander-in-Chief of the British Army in North America, listen to this, impressed with the proud bearing and other characteristics of the Maroons. Same thing Christopher Columbus said and the Europeans about their stature and how they were beautiful and how they were endowed. Employed the group to work. Listen to this. Employed the group to work on the new fortifications at the Citadel Hill in Halifax. Meaning to work, to build the town up. The Lieutenant Governor, Sir John Wentworth, believed that the Maroons would be good settlers. I mean, I can go on and on, man. I can go on and on with the history. Why history was hidden. I can go on and on with the history. I gave you research the Black Christian codes. This stuff was real. And I close with this. The disease that they put on us, that they say called Negroes to run away. Droptomonia. Drapetomonia. DRAPETOMANIA. Or the disease causing Negroes to run away. These are the things, man. So we must know why it's important to know who you are. And once we know that, we teach our babies and we build up right. I love you all. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth. And I promise y'all, family, tomorrow, because I said I'm going to start giving everybody this. Tomorrow, I'm gonna teach all the Morse Adapt Study Guide, the House of Ali, the mysticism, the Egyptian Adapt Prophet and Angel. I'm gonna teach all of it. And if anybody wants the manuals, that's Morse, you hit me up. Like I said, it's here. And if you're in the temple and your sheiks don't have this, this is it right here. This is the Morse Adapt Study Guide, the House of Ali, the mysticism, the Egyptian Adapt Prophet and Angel. I can walk you everything. You can have this. The Morse Mantras and Commandment. I'm just going to read the first page and I'm out. Step 1, know thyself. Spirit. Step 2, know thyself soul. Step 3, know thyself body. If you cannot demonstrate your will is when I say Ashe. If you cannot demonstrate your will to control your lower self through your conduct, controlling principles, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, how can you command the spirits of fire, air, water, or earth? You have to become your higher self to demonstrate the force, which is the will of Allah, made manifest. The theory is comprehensible, scientifically applicable, and universally possible. Only through fasting, purification, contemplation, meditation can you reach realization of the higher self. Study Self, chapter 35 of our Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. What is an adapt? An adapt is a master of degrees, a master who has achieved the highest attainment and degree in the mastery of the spiritual science, the physical science, and life sciences. After mastering the elemental degrees, ascending to oneness with Allah, and brings the children to Allah. For a Moorish adapt master to know the mantra, command of words, or power of any God form is to know how to personally commune with that God or goddess, with that God or goddess. For example, if the Moorish adapt is a spiritual master like myself, he or she can by use of mantras and commands call forth angelic spiritual beings. A particular rate of vibration is achieved or attached to each individual spirit in existence. And to formulate this as a sound in a mantra or a command will, it gives the Moorish adapt the power to order any spirit to do his or her work. That's chapter 7 of our Moorish Quran. A mantra and a command is not spoken as normal speech, but is vibrated from the deep depth of the bosom of the spirit. The following mantras and commandments each belong to individual universal vibrations. And if used correctly, my brothers and sisters, my Moors and my Mooresses, with power, authority, and knowledge, and wisdom, and love, and truth, peace, freedom, and justice, faith, hope, and love, it will manifest anything. Ashe. When you invoke the spirits, do not allow what you experience during the invocation to disturb you in any way, Moors. You are simply disturbing the ethers and commanding the attention of Elohim. That's why in chapter 1 it says wisdom speaks from out of the where, family? The highest plane of spirit life. And so the last page I leave you with this, and I'm going to teach this tomorrow about our Moorish adapts and what we do 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. The morning prayer, Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. See, this structure, this is what we should be teaching our brothers when we say we adapt. We all adapts. 12 p.m. and 1 p.m., noon and midday. This is your prayer. O Allah, don't let me become weak of mind, nor faint of heart in the midst of thy day. O Allah, let me not fall to temptation. Give me the strength to turn my cheek to all evil conversation and idle works and deeds. Give me the strength to continue to glorify thy holy name. Amen. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., our evening or our closing prayer. See, man must continue to pray. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers. Divine creed and principles. Divine creed and principles. We ask this in thy holy name and the seven Elohim. Amen. To also be said at the end of a holy day meeting. Not to be repeated. Only spoken aloud by the one closing the meeting. And at that prayer, Ella, 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 I come to you in the heat of the day, across the hot burning sands of time, bearing my burden, yet I have faith, hope, and love. Give me thy strength to endure in thy holy name and bless my endeavors, that I may not thirst at those whom were driven from amongst men, whom become debased and hid themselves in caves from your face. Forgive me of my sins as I come, repenting from all evil and wicked ways of the carnal desires and the things that I may become with Ella, a servant worthy of your blessings. As an angel amongst the sons of men, as there is no death to spirit man, I obligate myself, my earthly form, to your cause this day. If I don't keep this obligation to you, may your wrath and the sword of the ancient forefathers strike me 7 times. Amen. Moore's protection prayer. You say Allah is my protector by night and by day through his holy prophet Drew Ali on the 7, on the 7, and on the 10, and on the 10, and on the 10, without saying amen until you get done with the protection prayer. Now you put your right hand over your heart like the prophet on the DC and bylaws. You will start east saying Allah, 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 El, Holy Son of Allah. You say this going clockwise until you get back to the east. Now you step back in the middle of your circle and you ask Allah to protect you for whatever you are going through. And then you say amen. I can tell you about our clouds, about our voodoo. I can go on and on, but that's going to be another teaching. That's for tomorrow. I love you all. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, health, and wealth. Peace.